My name is Ayodele Adio. I am the host of The Drill. I am a tough guy that likes to ask the tough questions. That's what I love to do because I love an honest debate and I love a frank discussion. And that's what I do every single week on the show. I get politicians at the other side of the table, businessmen, people in civil society, pastors, whoever they are. It is my job to ask the tough questions that make them uncomfortable so that you listeners can get the best out of my interviews. Join me every week on The Drill as I ask the most uncomfortable questions, the most important people in society. Good afternoon, Reverend John Osawe. You're welcome to The Drill.
God bless you.
Pleasure to talk to you. You are a retired police officer. In fact, you retired as the CSP, the Nigerian Police Force. Talk to me first about how you moved from being a senior police officer to starting a church or a ministry.
All right. By the grace of God, I started the journey of policing in 1982 as a cadet inspector. And by the grace of God, I rose to the rank of chief superintendent, and I retired in 2017, precisely September.
Oh, so you just retired sometime last year. So it means you are not unaware of the kind of police force that we have today. And so I'd like to ask, there's been several reports ranging from international agencies and some local reports that were conducted here in Nigeria describing the Nigerian police as one of the most corrupt institutions in Nigeria. With your experience in the Nigerian police force, why do you think that the police is riddled with so many corrupt practices?
Thank you so much. The word itself is corrupt. The word generally is corrupt. It's not only in the Nigerian police force. But I want to say that if that is what the word is saying concerning the Nigerian police force, I want to differ, because everyone answers his name. When we say police force, Nigerian police force, I just retired and I have a name. And so many other persons also have their names. If anybody wants to be corrupt, it's because he may not have no Christ.
I'm sorry, sir, but we see this defense from every senior police officer we talk to about the corruption of the police. They try to deflect it. Everybody says you can't say that about the police. They're just a few bad eggs. But when we go on our roads every single day, from checkpoints to checkpoints, from states to states, when we travel, we see police officers hounding bus drivers, harassing people on the road. What kind of culture, with your experience, breeds that kind of system in the police?
Thank you so much. Looking at the Nigerian setting, Nigeria deserves the kind of police they are seeing. That is just my answer to that.
So what has the Nigerian system done to deserve that kind of police? Are you talking about the fact that the Nigerian system has not properly taken care of the Nigerian police, and hence
Thank you so
we
much.
should deal with
You are very, very right. It takes the grace of God, like somebody like me. When I was here, I think by the grace of God, the whole world will hear me now. It takes the grace of God for one to really maintain integrity while in that kind of setting. I wouldn't say I regret, but I've always said it, that my kind of person ought not to have been that job. And people that came across me lamented seeing me doing the police job. They will often say, it's a testimony today that you were not supposed to be in this kind of job. What are you doing here? But my reply will always be, if somebody like me is not in this job, they will not know the difference. Christ made the difference.
I know that you're a strong believer, and of course, from the way you sound, it means that even through your service time in the police force, you were already a believer, preaching.
I was a pastor.
Pastor at the time,
yes,
preaching.
I set up places of worship in the police. I have one Tolu division where I was a DPO, set up a worship center there. In Morobo, I have one there, by the grace of God. In Guaba, I have one there.
You know, much as I like, the gospel and the good news, if that was enough to change the world, I think the world would have been a better place for now. People in positions of authority need to do a better job with the responsibilities they have for change to actually happen. So I know that you've preached the good news with police officers and what have you around there, but what really needs to be done, in your own view, to change the kind of police that we see today? I know the gospel is good, but what really needs to be done, to change?
All right, that is what you want to know. From my point of view, people may not reason the way I do. I think if they want the police, the kind of police that they want, that will really adore God, that will be responsive and responsible to the citizens of Nigeria, there's a need for them to make general provisions. Like when they came up with this administration, the Buhari administration that we had today, we're talking about curbing corruptions here and there. I told them, I said, look, if I am too small in the country to speak, if I were to tell them what to do to curb corruption, maybe my view would have been effective. Because in the Nigerian police, I see it this way. People are afraid of tomorrow. Because if you don't know God, you must be afraid of tomorrow. I mean, police officers know that God said in Deuteronomy chapter 8:18 that He has given us power to make wealth. How many will know that? They will not. They are fighting to get shelter. They are fighting to make provision for their children and their wives because they don't know of tomorrow. If a policeman died today, leaving the wife and the children, nobody, the next day they are forgotten. If they have no home, where do they go to? Would they sleep under the bridge? I, personally, from my own view, I advocate to the country, to the nation, that if they want good policing in Nigeria, they should provide shelter. And if they are able to do that, at least the corruption would have been killed.
In a better way.
Yes.
With the current security situation that we see in the country, whether it's herdsmen violence, whether it's bandits in Zamfara or Birningwari somewhere in Kaduna, or the crisis you have in Taraba and Adamawa, it just seems to me, like the Nigerian police and of course its entire security apparatus is being overwhelmed with the wave of crime in the country. Do you think that the curriculum in the Nigerian police has to be updated and something needs to be changed in the training process to prepare young police officers to respond better to the crime that we see happening today?
God bless you. If I may say something there, I don't think it's the training that is responsible. It's not the training at all. But let us look at the politics of Nigeria. Look at the way of life in Nigeria. Like I just said, it's boiled down on corruption. If the head is corrupt, those down will also be corrupt. If the politics in Nigeria is well played and corruption, free of corruption, those following will not be corrupt. A policeman going out to carry out a duty who has nothing in his house, and somebody now say, my dear, can I give you this while you do this? Of course, he has no Christ. He will do it. He will do it because he does not know Christ.
So fundamentally, it's not about the training, they have in the police academy. It's about the welfare. You sound as though that the welfare of the average policeman, is the most important thing in keeping our country safe today.
That is true. Let me quickly say something. You see, the rank and file, the inspector down to constable, they are the main policemen that does the job in this country. If the organization, the Nigerian Police Force, deem it necessary to build at least a room and a parlor, 2-bedroom flat, 3-bedroom flat, and allocate it to these rank and files and inspectors. And even make them to enter into a bond. That is me. That is what I stand for.
What of the what do you call it now? The police houses that we see, the barracks that are built. The rank and file don't own them, or is it on a rent basis?
They say, the word I often hear, they say, soldiers come and go, barracks remain the same. Okay? Those are few barracks that were built long time ago to house policemen and women. But that is not going to be their living home. Of course, I'm retired now. I am living in a place. They will be retired and also live in a place. That is why the corruption, because they don't know where they will get to tomorrow. They don't know their fate. If they are given a provision, so like I said earlier, a room and a parlor, 2-bedroom flat, 3-bedroom flat, and they are meant to sign an undertaking, a bond, that where will be deducting things from your salary till you retire, but of course a clause should be there. If you are found corrupt in between the period of your payment, we shall retrieve the property from you and we send you to jail. Yes, it will work.
So okay, I get the fact that welfare is very important, to the Nigerian police. Moving away from there, just a little bit, there is this debate, about the over-centralization, of the Nigerian police force, and would have, better security if we can decentralize so that we have state policing and local policing, because the local police, who is hired from the community, will understand the language of the people in that community and respond better to the challenges in that community. Do you buy that argument? And of course, you can add that to the fact that, do you think that we are grossly under-policed in Nigeria?
Of course, I will accept your later statement, but let me say something here, that we should not look at the population that we are in Nigeria. We should look at the civilization. That in the US, in China, in Italy, there are state police. Let's ask ourselves this question. Are Nigeria actually due for state police? If they are, what is the position of politicians? How will they use them? Yes. I'm a lawyer, let me say something here.
Yeah.
There's an old case of Hitene, then Commissioner of Police in Anambra State. There was a problem between the commissioner and the state governor, then Jim Uwumbodo. The question was, who controls the justice? Is it the governor or the commissioner of police? They went to court. And in that case, it was decided that yes, the commissioner of police can take instruction from the governor, but not in all cases. And thereupon, the governor decided to set up a miniature police, and they were along ahead. So there's going to be crisis between the federal police and the local police. And again, corruption will also trigger up, because Nigerians, we have that blood, want to make it overnight, want to make it by force. Whether they like it or not, the village people are waiting to receive them and give them a gold in form of chieftaincy title and so on and so forth. They want it. Everything still comes under Jesus.
So you just don't think that Nigeria is ripe for state policing? You think we should just continue until we are more educated or more civilized?
That is one. Again, how many states in Nigeria can pay the police? Yes. Civil servants are working, they are not paid. Pensioners are there for state, they have not paid. Then how many states in Nigeria can afford state police? It's not employing people that matter, it's paying the salary. And where would they get the money? That is to say, they have to push other Nigerians that are not in uniform into the forest to get the money.
I know that the police has a microfinance institution. I think it's run by the Police Service Commission, if I'm not mistaken. But first, let me ask, what is the role, aside promotions, what particular role does the Police Service Commission play? Are you able to report to the Police Service Commission for bad welfare condition of the average policeman, and they're able to do something about it?
Well, I think the Nigerian police force is, like I saw it, is a regimented force. You cannot complain. Whether you are oppressed, you cannot complain. Nobody is ready to listen to you. In fact, you are on your own the moment you join the job. I regretted one day, I just cried in my room, and I was not happy with myself because I felt I was arrested. Then I didn't know what I was doing, I would say so, but I still thank God because God opened my eye to see the direction of life.
I mean, you really explained such, a mind-boggling experience that the average policeman has to go through in this country. And I'm here sitting wondering what really needs to change. Because I take your earlier statement when you said people were asking you, why did you have to join the police? Why should a person like you be joining the police? I mean, the police is not a secret society. Yeah. In other words, people are proud to be police officers. What do we need to do to restore the dignity in the Nigerian police so that young graduates who graduate top in their class will be willing to join the police? Remember, if we just talk about the funding of the police, you know that the level 7 or level 8 officer who gets a job in the Ministry of Finance or the Ministry of Trade or whatever ministry earns about the same thing that the policeman earns on the same level, that they go. But you see people willing to join those ministries than be a part of the Nigerian police.
Yeah.
So what needs to be done to attract young and bright people into the police force?
Well, I would just feel that, or I think that the organization itself is cost. The founding father, if you look at it, it was originally owned by slaves. If you are from the noble, you cannot join the police. It was a slave's job, where people can be used anyhow. It's only now that we are seeing, because there's no job again, you can see a son of a king, a son of an emir, a son of this, son of major general, retired IGs, and so on, bringing their children into the job. But not so.
So you think the foundation was basically faulty?
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk a bit about your ministry. How have you used your experience, gathered in Nigerian police, which 35 years you must have spent in the police? So how's your experience, in Nigerian police shaped your ministry and your outreach missions and building the church?
To God be the glory. Let us not talk about the police when it comes to the ministry. They are two different things entirely. I've even forgotten, if you've not started asking me about police, I've forgotten about police.
In just 1 year?
All I just talk about is Jesus. I want to tell you here that because of Jesus, I spent 16 years teaching in police colleges. Because I know that if I come out to venture what they are doing, God will not be happy with me.
Yeah. So I mean, where did you find this passion? Which I don't think I've met a policeman who is that passionate about Jesus. What drives this passion that I see?
You see, I just believe one thing. If you read the Bible very well, you discover that a lot of people were called directly by God. I think I should be one of such people, because I have never left the cycle of Jesus, no matter the humiliations. What I went through in this life today is Christ that stood by me, both in the family or otherwise. My testimony will move you. It will move people who have never known Christ before. Yes.
So you are passionate because of the experiences you had, and that has fostered you to continue to push on the frontiers of ministry, to take Jesus to the ends of the earth, I guess.
Of course, yes. Yes.
So what is your fundamental, what would you say is your mission as a reverend or as a Christian? What do you want to change? I understand that it's the gospel, but pastors or reverends usually have a core mission at the back of their minds.
Yeah.
Some want to save young people from drug abuse, some want to save women from prostitution. What is your core mission as a reverend? When you are being buried on the ground, what would you want to be remembered for as a reverend?
God bless you. I'm sent to deliver those in captivity. Deliver them to their captivity. Because I was in captivity. Captivity of the family. Captivity of my father, who never wanted anything good about me. And people are dear like me. And it is God that delivered me. Like, I want to refer again to the police. I was a warrant for 14 years. Warrant for 14 years. Because of my father. When you have an arch enemy in the house, one way will run into trouble. But I never discovered it until late. And my first experience here, I told the world, I said, look, your worst enemy is within your household. Because your enemies knows the pint, your family know the kind of pint you started with. They know how you were born. They know how your placenta was buried. They know everything concerning you, how you grew up. People outside don't know. My father restrained me with their demonic power for 14 years without promotion. I was in ASP now for 14 years. You know what 14 years is? People these days, in the rank of ASP 14 years, they are already CSPs. But I never gave up because God said, continue. You must not abandon this project. So, what I was delivered from is what God has sent me to also deliver people from.
Thank you very much, Reverend, and I think it's a fascinating way to end this interview. If you have any last words, to the people out there who probably have shared in some of the, challenges or that you've been through in life, anything you want to say to people out there?
Yeah. I want to say that as a child, no one must underrate a father or a mother. In every home, there is an idol that will pretend over children and their well-being. Many children can't make it today. They are even cursing God for allowing them to come into this world because they have not been able to discover what and what is responsible. Like the Bible said in Hosea chapter 6, verse 4, it said, my people perish for lack of knowledge. And I remember the Bible said in Judges chapter 6, an angel appeared to Gideon. He said, Gideon, go to your father's house. Go and bring down the altar in your father's house. Today, fathers, mothers have altars to restrain their children from going out. I will tell you, in some home today, in some villages, some people has not made a journey out of their village. That is where they get married to a woman, that is where they rear their children, and that is where they die and they are buried. Human resources is not, you cannot equate human resources with an oil block today. If a man dies without fulfilling his destiny, he has lost a great thing for his world.
Thank you, Reverend John Osawi. It was really interesting talking to you. And I hope we have you again here sometime pretty soon.
God bless you.
God bless you, sir. Thank you.
My name is Ayodele Adio. I am the host of The Drill. I am a tough guy that likes to ask the tough questions. That's what I love to do because I love an honest debate and I love a frank discussion. And that's what I do every single week on this show. I get politicians on the other side of the table, businessmen, people in civil society, pastors, whoever they are. It is my job to ask the tough questions that make them uncomfortable so that you listeners can get the best out of my interviews. Join me every week on The Drill as I ask the most uncomfortable questions, the most important people